morning. Good to see everybody sitting out here in their bright clothes on this bright sunshiny day, and good morning to all of you that are home watching us. We're glad you're with us also. If anyone is here for the first time, or you've only been coming for a short time, there's Joseph. Joseph is in the back. He has a gold stole on, and he has a coffee mug to share with you, and he also has a packet of information and can also answer any questions you might have about Unity. Please check in on Facebook and tell your friends that you're here. You'd love to see them with you. And then if you would please silence or turn your phone off. Today's beautiful flowers were given to us by Linda Hilton, wishing everybody a happy fall, y'all. Please join me in our mission statement. The words are on the screen. Our mission is to encourage and inspire spiritual and personal growth by empowering each other to be authentically all that we came here to be. Let's speak together the affirmation for today's daily word. Joy is the foundation of my happy, fulfilling life. Joy is always mine. It is a divine gift of my spiritual identity, a blessing I use to create my life. Joy colors every aspect of living. It is in the positivity with which I meet adversity, the compassion I feel for those I care about, and the wholeness that informs my health and well-being. More than mere happiness, which can come and go, joy is deeper and ever renewing. It is the knowledge I am one with God and can live in perfect trust. I am never alone, no matter the state of the world or my life. I create my life through the power of my thoughts and feelings. When I live rooted in and aware of my joy, it becomes a part of everything I am and do. Joy is in my every word and action. The scripture for today is John 17:13. Together, I speak these things in the world so that they may have my joy and make complete in themselves. And let's repeat the affirmation. Joy is the foundation of my happy, fulfilling life. As I ring the prayer bowl, please hold the following people in prayer for their highest good. Don, Jim, G, Beth, Russ, John, Steve, Carolyn, Clay, Darren, Sally, Patrick, Peggy, Susan, Karen, Eleanor, Art, and the Harstick Height family who lost their patriarch of that family, and anyone else that you would choose to remember in prayer. Let's sing our thoughts or prayer. Okay, we're not going to sing that today, but just remember everything we think is a prayer. Melt into the sounds coming from the prayer bowl, which are attuned to our heart chakra. Let them open your heart for loving yourself and all others, everyone. Embrace the sounds and feel the love coming to you, a love always present. The vibrations of the prayer bowl send energy to awaken our awareness of the Christ Spirit within. Picture Spirit acting in, as, and through you. Inhale, hold, and exhale. We relax our bodies to prepare for prayer and meditation. Focus your attention on the crown of your head, relaxing as you follow down to your forehead, your eyes, your ears, your lips, tongue, and your jaw. To release tension or tightness in your neck and shoulders, take a moment and roll your shoulders. Follow your relaxation as it flows down your arms, past your elbows, through your wrists, hands, and fingers. See relaxation taking place throughout your body as it moves down your spine and lower back. Relax your thighs, your knees and calves, your ankles, feet, and toes. Take another deep breath. Hold and exhale to eliminate any remaining thoughts. With the names placed on our prayer list for everyone present in the sanctuary and everyone in our online community, we pray for the highest and best. For all of us, we affirm healing of mind, body, and spirit. Guidance to make right choices, comfort and support when we stumble, appreciation for all experiences, knowing there is always a lesson for our good, peace that surpasses all understanding, and love that nurtures, protects, and assures us we are all worthy. For everyone on earth, we affirm equal treatment and acceptance for all, health and wellness, safety and security, a flow of abundance for every area of all lives, loving relationships with oneself and with family and friends, inner peace and spiritual connection. We live in an unlimited universe, and there is always, always more than enough. We send out blessings to embrace our spiritual community, extending out through our city, our state, and country, all nations. May the human spirit be honored and respected. Inclusivity with no reservations is assured. Caring for the environment comes natural to all of us. May divisiveness and mistrust be replaced with harmony and truth in the United States and in all countries. All governments. We picture true peace on earth. We are so blessed, and we share with those near and far the warm, welcoming, inclusive energy that we feel right here in our sanctuary, with our online congregation, with our spiritual community. We know we are so blessed and live in a state of constant, limitless gratitude. And joy is the knowledge we are one with God and can live in perfect trust. We are never alone, no matter the state of the world or our lives. Ask yourself, what is it that gives you the greatest joy? And visualize yourself languishing in activities that give you great joy in the silence.
I'm told by Dee, it's my turn. So I'm going to take my turn, folks. And the first thing I want to do is to thank everybody that was here last Sunday for our 50th wedding anniversary. Les and I have been married 50 years last Sunday. And I want to talk briefly about that gathering. There were people here from Plano, Texas, all the way to Northern Illinois and Wisconsin. There were people here. A lot of my family were here. And what surprised me is somebody said to them, thank you for them coming. And they said to that person, and that person later related it to me, that we wouldn't have thought of not coming when we thought of what Pat and Les have done for the family. The only thing we've done is funerals and weddings. So I had a whole table of cousins, and they were wonderful. I want to talk about a book by Mary Catherine McDougall, What Treasure Mapping Can Do for You. And I was introduced to this book before I met Les. And so it was over 50 years ago. My best friend introduced me to Unity. And I know that you never forget the person that invited you to Unity or your first minister. And I want to say this, that Sue is terrific. She's just terrific. But this book was being studied at Unity Village, which is, I was in the singles group at Unity Village. I was single, raising a little girl after a divorce, which is part of Sue's journey as well. And I had a whole bunch of things happen to me. We were going through this book at the singles group. And after going through this book, I thought, I don't think I want to do that. I don't think I want to do a treasure mapping because I'd surely mess it up. How's that for lack of confidence? And so one of the days I said to myself, you know, you're all alone. Maybe it would be good for you to remarry at some point. And all I did was sit down. I didn't create a treasure map, but I sat down and wrote down some qualities that I would want in a person, that I would be willing to give up my position at UMKC for, which is where I taught. And if I would be willing to give up my freedom and enter into a relationship. And so I wrote down some qualities, and the thing is, and why John's saying about joy is because that's the main topic today, and I want to help you find some of the joy for your journey, because it's got to be joyful or it's no fun at all. And Unity is a joyful trip, but it is a lifelong commitment. And I think I could be busy working on these principles the rest of my life. Now, we've had ministries from Seattle, Washington to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania on the north and the east. We've had ministries in Wisconsin, in Ohio, all over the country. We've helped buy churches, sell churches, build churches, a lot of different things, and it's been quite a trip for 50 years. Quite a trip. That is an understatement, isn't it? But I want to tell you a little bit about this book. I made that list, and when I decided that the first marriage was not working, and I said to my best friend that I was getting a divorce, she says, well, what are you going to do now? And I said, well, I'm finding a church home for my daughter and I, because that was one of the problems in the marriage. And I said, that's the first goal. is to find a church home for Melody and I. And so she says, well, how about coming to Unity with me Sunday? Oh my gosh. I didn't know that it was going to change my life so much, but it did, and it will yours too, and it already has for a lot of you. But I want to help you find your joy in the journey. And one of the things that I did after studying this book was I made up my mind that 1974 was going to be my best year yet. My best year yet. And that was my mantra for 50 years ago, all in the fall. And I let everybody know it. I don't know if I would recommend that, but I let everybody know it. And every Sunday when we went to the singles group, I would mention that. And then I started having a series of events take place. And first of all, I want to tell you about an old braying donkey. If you have not heard this story, you really should, because what's really important in humor is to find the humor. If it's going to be humorous in 20 years, it's humorous now. And you might as well find the humor in it and get joy in your journey. And that's what's important. Now, this old braying donkey fell down a well. And the old farmer went and looked at the old braying donkey down in the well, and the well was dry. And so he studied about that for a little while, and then he thought, well, both of them have served their purpose, and they've aged out of their use to him. So what he did was he summoned all of his neighbors. And let me tell you, I learned the very first week that I was in Northern Illinois, in Rockford, Illinois, in the parsonage, how farmers all support one another. And sometimes we see that in our neighborhoods, but farmers are really good at that. And all of a sudden, I was at the kitchen sink, which had a window over it, in the parsonage, and down the road came tractor after tractor after tractor hauling grain. And I wondered, what in the heck is going on? That can't be one farmer. That has to be something else going on. And then I found out that a farmer had died during his harvest at the wheel of his tractor. And all of the farmers in the whole county, in the whole area, went and did his harvest for him. And this was the bringing it to the elevator. And one tractor right after another. I didn't count them, but it was way more than I ever thought were in the neighborhood, in the whole county. But they were all taking the grain to the elevator so that he would get credit for it and his family would have their support. Well, I was asked to do the service for that man, and I learned a lot more about him while he was, and he was a very prominent man. But back to the donkey in the well. I'm going to skip around a lot. Les gets onto me all the time. I'll start a sentence and then I'll be on another subject. And he's had 50 years of that, and he's gotten good at it. A farmer, the old donkey had fallen into the well then. The farmer summoned all of his friends, and he said, this donkey has aged out of its use to me, and the well's been dry for a few years, so I would like all of you to start shoveling dirt into the well and take the old donkey that will take him out of his misery, and it'll seal the well so nothing else will fall in it, or no one else will fall in it. Well, the neighbors began tossing shovel after shovel of dirt into the well on top of the donkey, and the donkey began to think. Who knows that a donkey could think? But acting on his thoughts, he began to shake off that dirt, and step up on that shovel of dirt. And he kept doing that, and they kept shoveling the dirt, and he kept shaking it off, stepping up, and pretty soon he stepped right over the edge of the well to freedom. Isn't that great? Good for that donkey. Well, I felt like I was in that kind of a situation once, sort of like that braying donkey down in the well, only I was in Unity. And I had been taking some classes, and I'd been studying this book. And at the singles group, we'd studied this book. But there was a whole long string of things that happened. A whole long string. My house on the front storm door had a wooden frame on it. In the rain and in the inclement weather that can sometimes happen in Missouri, I was in Kansas City, in Raytown, Missouri, is where my little house was. And in that particular, I wanted the door would swell. Anybody have a door like that? Or a window? The door would swell when it was rainy. And this time, it was blowing big time and high to the people up there streaming. I forgot to mention them. Sorry about that, Dee. But the wooden framed screen door blew off and was in a heap in the front yard. That's number one. Now, there are 6 of these, so brace yourself for it. The roots of the beautiful big tree, shade tree in my front yard, grew through the water system. And the water leaked all over the basement floor up to about a foot. The other thing is that the stool lid on my bathroom stool, it was a 1-bathroom house, the stool lid came loose. And I thought, being an independent woman like I am, I was not about to ask for help doing that, changing the stool lid. So I found myself some WD-40 in the basement, and I sprayed it on there, and it still wouldn't budge. You know, I could not budge that bolt to take the other side off and get rid of that lid and get another one. But pretty soon, I thought, well, I'm still not going to hear it being an independent woman like I was. I'm certainly not going to ask for help on this. And so I decided, I get a screwdriver and I put it right in there against that bolt. And if I hit the screwdriver just a little bit, it'll help the WD-40 get in there. And that'll help the bolt come undone. Did it help? No, it didn't. What happened is that I missed the head of the screwdriver and I hit the tank, the neck between the tank up here and the bowl down here, and every time we flushed the stool, water ran all over the floor. Well, that also ran down to the basement and added to the foot that was already there from the trees. And then I went to going to get ready for school one day, and I realized that the plumbing back in the wall behind the wall-hung sink that was in that bathroom was busted. And that was running all over the basement. So here I was with 3 sources of water running all over the basement. And Oh gosh. Then the fuse box blew up in a storm. It was a 60 amp fuse box in that little house, and the insurance wouldn't pay for a 60 amp fuse box, so I got a 100 amp fuse box. And so it was one thing right after another. And then I was picking up my daughter from a bus trip back from her father's, and a lady ran a red light and hit my car. And here I was stranded in a street in downtown Kansas City near the bus thing, and and the police had to go get my daughter. And I told the policeman, I said, please don't scare her. Please don't scare her. If she will come with you, okay. Just show her your badge and everything. But if she won't, then leave her there, and I will come get her whenever I can get away from here. But somebody saw that wreck and came and motioned to the policeman to witness and to be a witness, which was a lucky thing. The last thing that happened, I think, if I remember correctly, was that my car began acting a little funny. I had a 66 Ford Fairlane that I'd bought brand new, and it was aging. It had probably 150,000 miles or so on it. And if you remember the 66 Ford Fairlane, they're a bit small. And so I told my little car, we were really close, my car and I. And if anybody drives a car regularly, you usually name it and you talk to it and all that kind of stuff. Well, I had that relationship with my car, and I told my little car, I said, now, don't you leave me stranded. I'll give you a break soon. And so I took the car to a man in my hometown, about an hour north of here, and at Mom and Dad's recommendation. And he checked it all over, and when I picked up the car, I said, will it get me through till spring? Now, this was around Thanksgiving, folks, and I thought, well, surely by spring I can find a new car that I want. So he said, well, it might get you through next week. But he said there's almost no compression in that engine. And I thought, I don't know what compression is, but it doesn't sound good. And so the last thing that I did was I went over at Mom and Dad's recommendation. I went over to Fort Scott, Kansas, where there was a dealer that Dad bought a new car from about every 2 years. And I sat down with him, and he was like a father image to me. And I said, I want a Pinto hatchback. And he said, first of all, I'm not going to sell you one till you tell me what kind of driving you do. And I said, well, if somebody's going 5 miles under the speed limit, I'm going to get around them. And my car has always done that for me. And I said, I do not go under the speed limit. Sometimes I go a little over the speed limit. And he said, well, I won't sell you a Pinto. And I said, really? You won't sell me a new car? And he said, no, I won't sell you, because you're going to get in trouble if you try to pass somebody. The power is not going to be there. And I thought, okay. And so they had this Gran Torino all dolled up in the showroom right outside his door. And I looked at that car, and I thought, that's a fine-looking car. And I said to him, I said, so how much for something like that? And he gave me a deal. And the next week, I had the bill of sale with me. And a man that I taught with, a staunch old German man that I taught with, had one just exactly like it, only a year older. And he says, he looked at the bill of sale, and he looked at me, and he says, I can't believe that man sold you that for that. And I said, well, he did. That's the bill of sale. So that new car was a godsend to me. And the next day, the very next day, after owning that and driving it from the dealer that one day, And I took my daughter to school, and then I pulled in the car in the driveway, and I stopped exactly like I always did with my Fairlane, except the car was 1.5 feet longer. So bam, right through the garage door went that car. Now, it didn't damage the car because the car had a good front end on it, and it was brand new, but at the same time, the garage door was damaged. Now, with all of this, getting it all straightened out and all fixed, it depleted all of my savings. And so I thought, Melody's 7 years old, and I thought, I think she's old enough that I could get a summer job, because between the semesters at UMKC, I didn't teach in the summer. So I went to the singles group that night, and I said, I think I'm going to get a summer job. And the sponsors told me, well, check out here first at Unity Village, at the world headquarters. And they said, check in the education department too, because they hire people to register people for CEP classes and all of that kind of stuff. So I went and was hired on the spot, and I ended up at Unity Village when Les came for ministerial conference. Now, they were there 2 weeks. The first week was committee meetings, and the second week was the serious ministers conference. And so I was looking for a minister. One of the jobs I had was to find the ministers or people in the village where their church needed them. If there was a message for that minister, or they wanted the minister to call the church or call somebody, then I would find them, and because I knew a lot of the ministers by then, and I would find them and give them the message. And I was going through the lower cafeteria. I don't know if anybody's been here that long. We've been at the village a long time, folks. But I was going down through the lower cafeteria and spotted the sponsor of our dance club. And I went over to him and I said, have you seen Bob Stevens lately? His ministry's trying to get a hold of him. And he said, well, he was in the Rose Garden a few minutes ago. And I said, well, I just came through there and he wasn't there, so I'll keep trying to find him. And he said to me, he said, oh, Pat, this is Les. Les, this is Pat, with almost exactly that voice inflection. It still haunts me to this day, rather. And he introduced us, and I thought, that guy takes, and I saw him walking through the Rose Garden a couple of times that week, and I thought, that guy takes risks with his clothes. They were always a little different, combined a little different, and the tie was tied very differently than what most men tie their ties and what I'd always had to in band and stuff. So at any rate, if I can get this straight here, I'm going to tell you, the thing was that the following week was a dinner dance. The AUC always had a dinner dance, and usually it was at the Alameda Plaza, which was a fine, fine hotel in Kansas City back then. We're talking 50 years ago, folks. That's a long time. It seems like yesterday to me, but it's been a long time. So at any rate, we were both refusing to go to that dinner dance for different reasons. I told the ladies that most of them were widows, that I ate lunch with, working that summer at the village, that I stay out of couple situations since I'm single. And he had told his minister friends who kept bugging him about going to the dance, and we didn't know any of this till we compared Notes later, yes, thank you for finishing my sentence. See what happens when you're together a long time? So he said no, and finally he realized that they quit selling tickets at 11 o'clock on a particular day. And so on Wednesday at 11, I think they quit selling tickets. And so he told the people to get them off his back. He said, okay, to a couple of ministers, he said, if you find a ticket, I'll buy it. They found a ticket. So he went when he wasn't planning on it. I went, and because I got a phone call that night, it was Bob Preston, who was a first-year ministerial student at that time. And he said to me, he said, first-year ministerial students have been down here decorating all day and getting ready for tonight. And he said, I don't feel very well. He said, but they gave all of us free tickets to tonight. So he said, if I put my ticket in an envelope, will you come down and use it? We were good friends from the singles group. And I turned around, and my grandparents were staying there with me that night for the one and only time they ever stayed with me. I turned around to them, and I said, I told them exactly who it was and what he said to me. And I said, would you like to stay with Melody tonight? And they said, go, have fun. We'll enjoy being with Melody. Well, the thing is that we showed up, both of us, not intending to, at the last minute to that dinner dance. And I was looking for the single gals that I ate lunch with. And I, across the lunchroom there, and stepping out in front of me was Lee Strang, Lee Stahl, the wife of the single sponsor. She was the female of the single sponsor, and she stepped out in front of me and she said, where are you going, Pat? And I said, I'm looking for the ladies I eat lunch with to go sit with. And she says, well, we have an extra chair at our table. Why don't you sit here? So she sat me down there, and it was right beside Les. So we danced all night, and then we went to the Alameda Plaza. I hope you're finding some joy in this journey. It wasn't all that joyful as I was going through it, but at the same time, I had a wonderful experience that night, and within 2 months, Les and I got married. And as I was packing to move in where we were going to live, we went to St. Louis first, and as I was packing, I found the note that I had hidden in a drawer when my mother came to visit. And in that note, I went down the list, and I thought, with all of those things on that treasure map kind of thing, that I had just made a list of qualities after that. But this book has examples in it all the way through it for prosperity, for health, for everything you can imagine in Unity. But one of the things that is interesting is that I had a personal experience once with the fact that we forget oftentimes in Unity that we are children of God. And we even forget it for the people that we know. And most of all, we need to realize that everyone is a child of God, and everyone has the same inheritance, and whatever inheritance I get won't limit you in any way, shape, or form. There's plenty for everybody. So what happened is that I had a personal experience because I was asked to teach music at an elementary school at the first place that Les went after we got married. And I was teaching, and I don't know how many of you have been in elementary school lately, but you hear children's names all over the school. And I heard this little boy's name all over the school. He was just full of it, full of joy, I guess. And I'm going to call him Hiram because I don't remember his name. And Hiram is a little boy that my mother and I had a personal experience with later and were able to bless. But you would hear all over the school. It was a 2-story school. Hiram, slow down. Hiram, don't run. Hiram, take my hand. Hiram, sit down. Hiram, shut up. Well, one day, Hiram in my music class was really being Hiram. And I picked him up and I gave him a great big squeeze. And with his little ear right near my voice, or right near my mouth, I said, "God loves you and so do I." And I put him down. Well, then I had a whole new experience with Hiram. He wanted to sit by me on the piano bench all the time. He wanted to be touching me all the time. He wanted to hold my hand going down the hallway. He wanted to be with me all the time. And that reminds me of one of my favorite songs, "Don't Worry, Be Happy." If you go through a bunch of Unity books, you will find over and over and over it poo-poos being worried about anything. And if you have trouble with that, start observing people who've been in Unity for a long time. If you observe people who've been in Unity a long time, you will find they reframe things differently. Now, let me go back to all of those things that happened to me. Every single thing that happened resulted in something that I'd wanted. I had wanted air conditioning in my house. The 60-amp fuse box blowing up was replaced with a 100-amp fuse box. The plumbing in the wall, when I got that replaced, it had a vanity with it. I'd always wanted a little vanity instead of just that wall-hung sink. And on and on and on. Everything that happened to me, except the car accident in my Fairlane, and I had the bandage on my ankle from that automobile accident when I was introduced to Les. Was really interesting how it came. When we utilize these principles, they work, folks. They work if we do. There was a minister for many years. He may be deceased now. I don't know if he's there or not. But he was in Indianapolis, Indiana. And he created the shortcut TABIT, T-A-B-I-T. And I told Lisa she was going to turn this. I had a bunch of scriptures in here. And I had typed out some scriptures on a thing. And then all of a sudden I heard my Bible teacher's voice in the back of my head. Have you ever done that? And he said, "It's not a bad thing to send the people hunting for things through the good book." So I decided I was only going to give you the scriptures and let you look for what you wanted to yourself. But then I forget, and Lisa was going to tab it all the way, or was going to strike down through all of the scriptures, and here I have just been yammering away, Lisa, so my apologies. But what's interesting is the principles work if we do, but it takes work. It takes focus. It takes planning. It takes preparation. That's the beauty of attending classes and the beauty of attending a face-to-face seminary like Les and I were blessed to. Everything is a lesson. And if you study people who've been in Unity for a long time, you will find that their beliefs, they're steady in their beliefs, they're steady in their faith, they're steady in their emotions, and they use the principles on a regular basis. Not just when they're in trouble, but on a regular basis. my first Unity minister, Sig Paulson, Sig and his wife Jane were my first two Unity ministers. And remember, I mentioned to you a while ago that you never forget the person who invited you to Unity the first time and your first Unity ministers. And some of you are going to always remember Sue because she's terrific. But Sig Paulson said, and one of his pet comments was the hereafter. Anybody want to go to the hereafter? To heaven? He says the hereafter is right here once we wake up to what's here. And that was his pet comment. Over and over I heard Sig say that. Now, one of the things that we forget oftentimes in our life is that we have chosen everything. We've chosen everything. We forget that. And if we don't like what we have, choose something different. If we've chosen everything and I told myself, gosh, if I got things all messed up like this in ignorance and stupidity, just think what I'll do if I get my life together. And I think it's probably pretty well together. Les says over and over and over, we are so blessed. We are so blessed. And I agree with that. We are so blessed. And to use Sig Paulson's pet comment, the hereafter is right here once we wake up to what's here. We just have to wake up, people. We have chosen, and if we're not happy with what we've chosen, then choose again. Like the old donkey, shake it off, step up. Shake it off and step up. Step up to a new realization, step up to totally accept the belief. That's what the tablet is, totally accept the belief. And Charles Roth in Indianapolis, Indiana, I think wrote a book about that, at least articles and brochure about that. Because if we totally accept the belief, and if we understand these principles, and if we use them disciplined on a regular basis, guess what? We will find joy on our journey. Always. This book is a fantastic book. It has several suggestions and several chapters in here about all kinds of imaginary things. I don't know if there's one in the library or the bookstore in here. It has a 1968 copyright, so it might not even be, and it was copyrighted by Unity Village. So they have outsourced everything. I don't know what's still left there. But totally accept the belief that you have the presence and the power of God within you. Act like it. Treat everybody else like it. And watch for the joy on the journey, because it'll be there. It'll be there. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, time for the announcements. Meditation is tonight at 6 p.m. and is open to everyone. The church office will be closed tomorrow for Labor Day. The Navigating Grief Support Group will still meet tomorrow, even though the church office is closed. They're still going to meet at 6 p.m. The Unity Men's Group and Potluck is this Tuesday at 6 p.m. They meet the first Tuesday every month, and all men are welcome to join. The Map Makers meet every Thursday at 10 a.m.
Lisa, we really need help. We've lost a lot of weavers, and we've lost a lot of people to do our prep work for us so that we can weave. So we would really like your help.
Yes, their goal is to make 100 mats in 100 days, and they would love your help. The Unity Drum Circle is this Thursday at 6:30 p.m. Bring a drum if you have one, but if you don't let that stop you. The church has extras. Everyone is welcome, no matter how much or how little you know about drumming. Next Sunday, there will not be a 9:15 adult ed class. This will give everyone more time to make their dish for our Friendship Sunday potluck, which is right after the service next Sunday. Please sign up in the foyer with what you will bring. We're having our potluck next Sunday rather than today because Greg Tamblin is coming to visit. He'll be here next Sunday. He's going to do our service in the morning and the music, and he's coming back and doing a concert at 1. Greg is an award-winning speaker, humorist, singer, songwriter for over 30 years. He combines outstanding audience rapport with an irreverent sense of humor. Concert tickets are $20. You can purchase them now or at the door. And here's a special message from Greg.
Hey everybody, Greg Tamblin here in Kansas City. Really jazzed, excited about coming back to see you after way too long, way too many years. So I just want to give you a little preview of what you're in for on Sunday, September 8th, and how much fun it's going to be. So in the morning we'll have a service. Really, it's the spiritual secret to relationships. And secret, is kind of a buzzword, but I really do feel like this is a secret because I never hear anybody talking about it, and it's so helpful, not just for your romantic relationships, but all of them. It's helped me enormously, and it's a funny service, but it's also real serious and real helpful. And we're going to follow that with an afternoon comedy concert, award-winning songs, musical mirth, mindful mischief, metaphysical musings, a lot of really fun, funny, also helpful stuff. And you know what? It's safe to bring your friends. They'll still be your friends afterward. Why? Because we're going to be laughing a lot. And you know what they say about laughter? 10 minutes of laughter is worth an hour of meditation. So after our concert on Sunday afternoon, September the 8th, you won't have to meditate for a whole week.
All right. Also next Sunday at 4:30 p.m., Jean Andrus will facilitate practical prayer, energy for healing. Participants will observe and then practice energy healing techniques. Jean does this class the second Sunday every month. We have a paid position for a webmaster and social media manager. This is a work-from-home position and requires approximately 6 to 10 hours per week. Please let us know if you or someone you know may be interested. And then, I don't know if you can believe it or not, but this is September 1st, so in a short 8 weeks, our crisis cold weather shelter will be ready to open starting November 1st. So we are going to do our 8 items in 8 weeks challenge again. And we're starting that next Sunday. The first item is coffee. I put a bunch of these in the seats. If you didn't get one, we have more out there. It tells you each week what the item is. And then whenever you get all of your items checked, put your name on this piece of paper and you'll be entered in a drawing for $100. So this is, one of the biggest things we do for our crisis cold weather shelter. These 8 items we use all season long in abundance. And so last year this saved so much money for the church to be able to do this drive and have these items. So please consider participating in that. And then the other thing for the Crisis Cold Weather Shelter, every year, Community Partnership of the Ozarks does an open house, and we always host it here at Unity, so we will be doing that again on September 10th. So if you've not ever volunteered at the shelter or been involved in the shelter, this is a great way to come and learn every aspect of the shelter, from transportation to the evening meal to what the overnight volunteer position looks like, and there's other things to volunteer besides overnight. So it's a come and go event, so just stop by, see what it's all about, and then, maybe get involved this year if you haven't been involved already. And now, if you will please stand and join me in the prayer for protection. Together, the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.